When I thought about coming, I've really been affected very much, as all of you have, with all of the suffering that's going on right now. Suffering in families, suffering in the hospitals. People are very ill. And I would bet that in our audience tonight, at least a few of you have faced death during this time. And so as I was considering this, I thought, I know something. I can bring therapeutic touch to the families. As a nurse, like John said, almost 30 years ago, I learned therapeutic touch. I'm going to use my PowerPoint a little bit, use storytelling. I want to do a meditation that's associated with therapeutic touch and do a demo. But when I started a long time ago, I learned to use it in the hospital with my patients. I taught my students, but honestly, I think the most powerful part was using it with my family and my friends. My children at that time were very young. Actually, I'd just gotten a divorce, and I was actually looking for something that would help families stay together, help families have a tool or something they could really count on that could help them minister to one another. And wouldn't you know, when you're looking for a teacher, you find one. And so I was invited to come to the Theosophical Society right here and learn therapeutic touch from someone named Dora Coons. And so, like I said, I would like to tonight, I'm hoping that something I say can help you in your family. I really think therapeutic touch can. I've used it so much with my children. Children love therapeutic touch. So once upon a time, two very brilliant women came together and created therapeutic touch. The one on the left is Dora Coons, and the one on the right is Dr. Krieger. Dr. Krieger was a nursing professor at New York University when Dora and her got together. Dora was a clairvoyant natural healer who said, there's so much suffering in this world. I want to do something about it. And she did. So when they came together, they thought about all that suffering in this world, and both of them had that desire to teach those that would be touching with people who were suffering, not only in the hospital system, but again, like I said, in families. So how can it help? It helps families by creating a sense of peace and kindness and caring. It relieves stress and anxiety and worry. It can ease pain. And in so doing, move the person's body back to a place that's balanced. It's a sense of well-being in that body. And with that said, it can help the immune system. So I'm going to say a little more about that. And so you might ask yourself, I don't know anything about therapeutic touch, and I'm not a healer, and I'm not a medical person. Do you think I can do it? And I'm going to say, yes, you can. And here's why. If you can, within yourself, learn to become peaceful and relaxed deep inside yourself, and understand why it's necessary in therapeutic touch to be able to do this. If you can gain an understanding that we absolutely have a field around us, and what I'd like to say about that is everything that happens within us, every function bodily, metabolism, everything, our emotions, what we're thinking, our thoughts, is reflected out here. And this out here is what therapeutic touch people call the field, a field. And I think what we want to really get a sense of in this field is that we can very much impact another person with our field. And we know that by being around maybe someone who's very, very angry. They may not say a word, but you can actually just feel it. It feels like an energy coming toward you. But then again, if you're with someone who's very happy and very joyful, think how that makes you feel. Boy, you can almost feel your immune system kicking right up. And boy, do we need our immune system to kick up these days. So, understanding how much we impact that other. And think about this shelter in place. We're very close in our families now. And we are impacting one another. And so that's why I think tonight, talking about therapeutic touch and what it can do is so timely. The next thing, if you can do, and it's very easy for families, it's automatic. That's why families do so well with therapeutic touch, why I used it so much. You're already hardwired to have compassion for your family members, love and compassion. And as soon as a family member is really suffering, your heart area, which is the center of compassion for us, changes, and you make a movement toward that person to help. And then another piece of this is to just keep remembering that you're not responsible for their entire life. You're responsible for this moment in time, right now, when you're working with them. And then we begin to have more moments. This is my little granddaughter. Children love therapeutic touch. Her father had shoulder surgery. She'd watched me do therapeutic touch many times, and she told him to sit down on a chair, and she was going to do therapeutic touch, and she did. And I'll tell you, therapeutic touch is a natural for children because they think it's just like giving a hug. It's a daily remedy, and it certainly was in my family. So, what do you need to know? We need to know that each one of us has a very unique patterning, and that's because of our whole life. We've had all kinds of things happen to us, and a lot of things are reflected out here. You might be a worrier, that might be reflected out here. But we each have an energy field that is unique to us. We're all a part of this wonderful, orderly universe. In other words, we live in this beautiful space all the time. And in therapeutic touch, we call it a universal healing energy field that we can tap in and remember that we're a part of. It is orderly, kind of like the sun comes up, sun sets, plant seeds, they come up. All of those things remind us that we have an orderly universe. You need to know also that to do therapeutic touch, a major requirement is that we have to get into our heart, because it's a loving, gentle, soothing, calming, caring modality. And everything we do has to go through our heart. Compassion. We need to be able to create this initial centering and quieting, and that's what I'm going to do with you tonight, give you an idea of what that looks like. I have a feeling that a lot of the people out there tonight already have these practices of being able to quiet, a meditation, and it's much like that. So when we do it tonight, it may feel very familiar to some of you. And then to know that our mind has to be very much involved. This isn't just waving your hands around. We have a very focused intention when we do therapeutic touch. It's very focused. It's very conscious. There's a great awareness. And that has to be present because that's kind of what orchestrates what we're doing. And then I think for our purposes, to know that therapeutic touch has this wonderful opportunity given to anyone who would like to learn. You don't have to be a part of any particular religion or culture, although therapeutic touch does walk alongside every religion and culture, so you don't have to give that up to do it. But it's for everyone. And so we have courses that teach it as used in the medical arena. They're for credentialing, things like that. But tonight, these smoothing movements that I'm going to show you, I'm going to do them in a really simple way so that you can begin to use them, even tonight. And another thing that's important is to understand that we're not curing here. When we say that we're healers or practitioners or we're doing healing work or this is a healing modality, we're saying that it brings peace. It brings quietude, a relaxation response. And think about what happens to your body when that occurs. Your body begins to move back into place, have a kind of a homeostasis, so to speak, moves back into place, a place of balance. And that's where your body works really well. When we get very worried, very stressed, very anxious, all of that balance gets a little altered. And our immune system takes a hit. So knowing that what we're doing is helping someone remember what they have inside of them that can heal what needs to be healed. So we're nudging the wisdom that's within that other. And one thing that's very important too is to remember to let go of the outcome again. While we're very focused with therapeutic touch, we really are caring very much. We have a full-out intention to do a particular thing. But when we've finished with the session, we have to remember to let go of the outcome, because that person will relax and the healing will come that they know how to do. So with therapeutic touch, we do right away a centering, and it's a journey inward. We move into our very deepest self, and we call that the inner self. And we create a sense of peacefulness, and so I'm going to be doing that with you now. Then we become conscious of our heart and the compassion that can come from there. We set an intention before we begin. You want to have your feet right on Mother Earth. And I think with all that's going on in our world, you almost have to think of it as roots of a tree going right into the earth and keeping you very grounded. And that's what you want to be. And you want to breathe. The breath is so important. And as we hear of all these COVID cases where people cannot breathe, how frightening, how terrifying that is to not be able to breathe. And so breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. That's very quieting. The soothing and smoothing movements that I'm going to show you help a person to relax, because they move through this field that we're talking about. When you first begin to do therapeutic touch, a lot of times you'll say, I'm not sure I feel anything, or I don't know if I'm doing anything. And so I just ask you to trust the hundreds and hundreds of therapeutic touch practitioners that are out there caring for their families, and perhaps in the medical field also, that have been doing this for so long. And you are doing something. When your heart and your hands and your mind are all connected in the right way, you are doing something. And so at the end of a session, you let go. You trust that they'll heal what has to be healed. You wish them well, and you send them your love. And so I'm going to do the centering now. And I'm going to ask you to join me in this. And I think it'll feel very nice. So get comfortable in a seat. Settle in. Get very comfortable. And I'm going to close my eyes too, because I can think better when I do that. So I want you to put your feet on the earth, though, on Mother Earth. In other words, wherever you are at home, put your feet on the floor and imagine that your feet are connected to Mother Earth. And settle in and get comfortable. This is what we do before we do therapeutic touch. You see, this energy that we have out here that's reflecting everything that we are about has to change when you walk toward the other to help them. And so I'd like you, even now, to take what you're worried about, what your stressors are, and have an imaginary box and just put them all in there, put them on an imaginary shelf. We're doing a lot of virtual these days. Put them on an imaginary shelf and put an imaginary lid right on top of it. And you can pick it up later on. But for this time that we're doing our meditation, let's leave all that. We'll call it for our one moment in time. So quiet. Close your eyes and just listen to my voice. It's a combination of imagery and relaxation. And so take a deep breath and let it out. And again, breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. And as you do that, imagine that you truly are breathing in fully and easily and effortlessly. And you're breathing in life. How precious. And when you breathe out, allow the breath to take whatever is not useful to you and allow it to go back to Mother Earth. And so you breathe in and you breathe out. And relax. And do relax from the top of your head down through your body, eyes, throat, chest, around your heart, your shoulders, your back. Let go and relax. And relax your arms and legs. Don't forget your abdomen. On down. Let go and relax. All the way to your feet. And as you relax, I want you to think of what is peaceful to you. The peace of your own home, the peace of your backyard. Whatever means peace to you, imagine it now and allow it to bring you more fully into a quiet place, a relaxed place. And what I'd like you to do now is think with me on the color that we use in Therapeutic Touch, which is a cobalt blue. It's a very beautiful blue. And think of it almost as a mist. And allow it to mist right down through the top of your head, allowing it to mist all the way through you, going to any place within you that might need healing, and all around you. This beautiful blue is the Therapeutic Touch. It's a very important healing color that we use. And if you can see that misting out all around you. And if you would right now, just see that beautiful blue misting out to all those in your family. Sending it out to them to heal what needs to be healed. And one more thing. If you would, think once more of sending this beautiful blue on out into our world. A world that's suffering right now. And allow that beautiful mist to move down and out wherever it's needed. And so, when you're ready, take another breath and open your eyes. That's called our centering meditation. And when you can do that much quicker when you're needed in your family, if you would practice it, it becomes kind of a discipline. If you could practice it many times over the next weeks, you'll be able to, with a breath and with your memory, move into that place. You see, when you take that breath and you relax and you move into this heart space, your physiology changes. And that's a very important piece for therapeutic touch. As we move toward that other, this is the place we need to be. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of do some movements with you of what it looks like. This is a new thing to not have a real person here with me. John is here with me, but he's 6 feet away. I've got to do 6 feet away. I suppose we could do that. Yes, all right. Why not? Why not? Here. There you go. All right. This has not been planned. This is spur of the moment. This is wonderful. I love this. So I've moved into John's field, and I've done my centering, and I'm moving toward him. So if you have a spouse or an adult, you want to smooth first the shoulders and down the arms. And you want to do this a couple of times. And you're smoothing. And this is very relaxing and quieting to someone. And while you're here, I want you to think about a few things. I'm now coming toward the other because I want to help. They're worried, they're fearful, whatever it is. And I want to help. And I want to come into my heart with my thoughts being things like, I wish you peace. I hope I help you relax. I hope that there's something inside that will remember to heal, nudge a healing. These are thoughts you want to have. You want to have these very positive thoughts as you come toward the other, because that's exactly what you want. You want this other to relax and get back to balance, and that's what you're wishing for them. That's what you're thinking about. That's your intention. And that intention is moving through your heart and out your hands. We have these little hand chakras that are moving here. Now, something that you would learn if you studied a longer period of time is that we do an assessment, and we do an assessment head to toe, front and back, inside to outside. But at this point, I think what I'd like you to do is just keep thinking that you want to bring peace and ease the suffering of the other. Later, as you practice more, you'll find that when you do what we call the assessment first, a lot of different things happen. You might feel a sense of heat with the person, your loved one. You might feel some tingling. You might feel, if they're very sad or worried, you might not feel too much at all over their heart. All of those things you would learn to do. But for our purposes tonight, I want you to just get in touch with this field and smooth the field in a calming way, and know that in nursing world, we call it the parasympathetic. It kicks in and quiets the person when relaxation occurs. And so, those are the things that are going on in my mind while I'm working with my loved one. And so we smooth the shoulders and down, and then I want to bring my hands together to just feel my own energy, and I start at the top. And you remember the field I was talking about? Well, the physical field will come out about 3 inches or so. And then there's the emotional field that's even farther out. And then there's the mental field and spiritual field. But what I'm asking you to do tonight is go just a little bit closer, maybe about 3 inches, and you'll be in a good place to bring a sense of relaxation to your loved one. And so you're going to start at the top of the head, and you're in the field. And that's what's beautiful about therapeutic touch in these times. We don't even have to touch, actually. We're in the field. It's called an energetic modality, energy field medicine. And you're smoothing, like as though there were little ruffly waves. You're smoothing this field. And I'll ask you to step forward just a little bit. And I'm going to get a hold good here. So you're smoothing, and you're smoothing, and you're going to, sometimes it's good to have your person sit on a stool or put their feet this way, and you can move around to the front. But we're going to just do a little bit of. So what I did, I went from the top down, inside out. You always go downward. It's a much more relaxing thing to do, and that's what we do. And now, what I just want to say, I'm not going to do the front because I'm liable to fall off the stage here. But I would go in that same way across front, all the way down the legs, and I would touch the feet. And I would touch the feet because I'm reminding the person that they're grounded to the earth. They're not floating up here somewhere. Now, you want to do that 2 or 3 times, all the way from the top of the head, smoothing, smoothing, and smoothing. Very gentle, calming. The whole time you're thinking, I wish you peace. I wish you relaxation. And I wish you healing. Now, you're going to do this in the back. You're going to do this in the front. You're going to touch the feet. And at the end, you might do one more thing if they're very, very sad. You may want to hover over their heart a little bit, just with your hand here, hovering and wishing them healing, that their fear goes away. Whatever it is that you can think of that would be good for them, that you know about, and they're a family member, so you probably do know. And so you want to do that. And at the end of that time, you go back, and one more time, you smooth. Now, as you learn more and more, you'll pay attention to what you're feeling, and that's a guide for you to know what you're going to, what we might call intervene with, rebalancing. And you want to let the person know that you've finished, and now they need to rest for about 20 minutes. So, John, you have my permission to rest for 20 minutes. Thank you for being my model. Yes. Now, I want to show you, now this looks a little odd. I don't normally carry a baby doll around with me, but this is for families. And like I said, I've worked with my own children, and I've worked with many children, I should say. It did kind of become like a household remedy at my home. Not only did I work on my own sons, who often came with shoulder aches and pains and a lot of sports things, and so, but they would sometimes bring their friends too. So it was an interesting household we had. But for your baby, well, one of the things you may want to do is to remember that with your adults, you can work about 10 minutes, and that's about as long as you want to work directly, maybe 15, depending on if they're very ill, if they're a healthy person. But people who are very ill can't take a lot of energy. And so your treatments are short. But for your babies, they're even shorter because they really can't take a lot of energy. And you don't want to make them more restless. So they can be right over your shoulder here, and you, one hand only, move through that field, and move through that field. And the beautiful thing about families is, what is the first thing that you have an inclination to do when your child has a bad dream, scary dreams, things like that, is to hold them, right? To soothe them. Therapeutic touch is much like that, except that you're very conscious about how you're doing it. Your heart is connected with what you're doing. So you go down, and you can hold their little feet, if they'll let you, and not kick. The other thing you can do is, in this way, quiet them. Quiet them. And it doesn't take long. Like I said, little children love it. But they often won't go and sleep for 20 minutes. They're up and running after you finish making them feel better. So these are the things you can do, and to quiet them. But remember, only a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes most, for a baby. And for a brand new baby, for an infant, even less. And almost very, very little on the head. We do not do long on the head. So these are precautions. And really, there's not a way to hurt someone. You simply would make them feel a little more restless, that's all. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint now. And I did say this, I think. So therapeutic touch is shorter for your children. And it's wonderful for scary dreams, worry, tummy aches. It gives them a sense of confidence. Actually, it gives the entire family a sense of confidence that they are not at the mercy of whatever's banging them around these days. And you don't have to sit in a chair like I did with John. They can stretch out on their bed, and you can begin to do therapeutic touch as they go back to sleep after a scary dream or tummy ache. For adults, 15 minutes is about right. By the time you get them settled down in a chair and do an actual therapeutic touch session, and then have them rest. And really, like I said, you're looking for peacefulness and relaxation, and a little too much or too long just makes a person a little bit restless. That's all. So that's the greatest effect. Now, what about you? Can you do therapeutic touch for yourself? Yes. And when I say you, I'm saying that in a family, a lot of times one person will resonate with this more and be actually the one that actually does therapeutic touch for the family. And so if that's you, then you deserve the same compassion as you give to your whole family. And so again, you're going to have a place that's very quiet, and hopefully you can find that. Again, put your feet on the ground. On our reference list, there's a book called TT for Self-Care, and it just came out, and so that'll be on the reference list. You might want to take a look at that book. It's very good. But in the meantime, what I want you to do is quiet. Do your centering. If you have a little bit of a headache, you can move through. We do what we call like a sweeping. Sometimes you can get a little sinus aching. Move it through. And your image is to move it away from you and out. And so you're moving it through. And you can move through the top of your head and down and just quiet. And the entire time you're doing this, you're quieting. And you're quieting. And you're quieting. And if you can reach down and touch your toes, even better. remind yourself to keep your feet on the earth. I'm going to suggest you might want to use, if you can think of colors, and you feel very stressed and anxious, and maybe even with a little headache or pain somewhere, that you might want to use our beautiful cobalt blue. It's sitting on the table over there. And see it as a mist, and always gentle. And remember, compassion for yourself too, because you deserve it. And that mist can move right down. And if you mist your headache with this beautiful blue, or your heart, or whatever it is, you'll find that you have this image of that pain just moving on down into Mother Earth and go away. My mom is 95 years old, and she has osteoarthritis. She loves Therapeutic Touch. And when I do a treatment on her, she's without pain, actually, for probably a good couple hours. And so she loves to get it. So this smoothing. And then again, this is what you want to do. You deserve to have a rest too. When I did the centering earlier, I said, now let's lift that up and out to our world. There's an international association, Therapeutic Touch International, and we made a commitment to 12 noon every day that we would imagine actually like a globe or the world, and that we would send our beautiful therapeutic touch from our hearts to our world for the suffering that's in our world. And so if your family would be willing at various times, especially in the tough times, the stressful times, to sit together in the living room or wherever, close their eyes and allow you to talk through a meditation of relaxation and healing, and then lift it up. Just think about it. Every family all around, lifting that beautiful blue up and out for the suffering that's going on, for our caregivers, for those in hospitals, all of them. Theosophical Society has a reference list that I gave, but if you are interested, it's really a great thing to read Dolores Krieger's books. She has a lot of them. She and Dora Koons wrote together Spiritual Aspects. There's a whole reference list that John, can they get it from you all? You'll have that reference list, I guess, for whoever would like it. I have a short one and I have a long one. And then there's Therapeutic Touch International Association, and that's their website. And like I said, I teach classes here for beginning and advanced, intermediate. They have different names now. They're called transpersonal. There's a reason for that. That second one. You see, when we do therapeutic touch and we quiet ourselves and we get into that peaceful place, and we have such an awareness that our thoughts are powerful and they can have the ability to help someone or not help them or even harm them, that we're so intimately connected. When we really get a sense of that and know that when we do therapeutic touch, we have to change our physiology. And when we change our physiology, our blood pressure drops, our pulse rate drops, we breathe easier, and we begin to be more balanced for a moment in time. And when we do that, and we care about that other, even love that other, we find that our immune system kicks up. We know what suppresses it: depression, fear, anger, all those things. But what gives it a lift is love, hugs, laughter, joy, therapeutic touch. And so with that said, every time you quiet yourself and come into this heart space, something happens to you. And you impact your family member, your loved one, your child in a very special way. Dynamics change. If this begins to happen a lot, over and over again, you begin to look at how that happens. And sometimes it can actually change your worldview. It can actually be a transformation of sorts. All sorts of beautiful things happen. And that's why we call our second course Transpersonal Nature of Therapeutic Touch. And so I'd like to end with a little prayer. I love this picture of the Native American people. Remember I said that you don't have to be a particular religion or culture to do therapeutic touch, but therapeutic touch can walk alongside whatever religion or culture you are. Well, my background, my background is Native American, and so I've integrated a lot of Native American ways of thinking into my therapeutic touch practice. There's a lot of similarity, such as we are all related and we intimately impact one another. And so I'd like to just end with something. It's a prayer for healing, and you're going to hear a little music in the background, and it's a beautiful Cherokee song. But my son Jeremy created an arrangement with guitar, and so I'd like to play that now and talk through this prayer. Creator, Great Spirit, be with all of us now, helping us to find peace within, to bring peace, comfort, and healing to one another. Grant us strength and resilience during these times. Remind us that our words and our thoughts are powerful, and they can help, but they can even do harm. So we want to be careful of what we think. Be with our caregivers as they help those who are suffering. And be with all those who are suffering in families and out in our world. Thank you, Spirit, Creator of all things. Please bless us, protect us, and help us to heal. Aho.